I stood in the doorway of that little white chapel, my heart pounding so loud I swear the stained glass windows shook, and there she was, my best friend Lila, in my wedding dress, holding hands with my fiancé, Marcus, while the organ played the song we'd picked for our first dance. The air smelled of lilies and candle wax, thick and cloying, like a funeral instead of a wedding. My fingers went numb around the bouquet I'd come to deliver, white roses, same as mine, same as hers now. The veil I'd spent 3 hours steaming. That morning trailed from Lila's dark curls like a ghost of my own reflection. Marcus turned, saw me, and his face went the color of ash. The pastor's voice faltered mid-sentence. If anyone here has just cause— Oh, I had cause. I had oceans of it. I didn't scream. I didn't faint. I just stood there, 32, years old, clutching flowers that weren't mine anymore, watching the two people I loved most in the world promise forever to each other in a room that suddenly felt too small for my grief. Lila's eyes met mine across the aisle, wide, wet, pleading. Marcus took a half-step forward, mouth opening, but no sound came. The organ kept wheezing, the guests shifted in their pews, and somewhere behind me, a phone camera clicked. I'd driven 2 hours to surprise them with the bouquet, thinking I'd beat the florist. I'd texted Marcus that morning, "Can't wait to marry you tomorrow, baby." He'd replied with a heart emoji. Lila had called me last night, voice syrupy with excitement. "Everything's perfect, babe. You're gonna love the venue." She hadn't mentioned the venue was a chapel, or that she was the bride. My knees buckled, but I caught the doorframe. The wood was cool under my palm, real, grounding. I tasted metal, blood from where I'd bitten my tongue. The pastor cleared his throat. "Miss?" he asked, uncertain. I looked at Lila again. She lifted her chin, just a fraction, the way she did when we were kids, and she'd stolen my last cookie but dared me to call her out. Except this wasn't a cookie. This was my life. I took one step inside, then another. The aisle stretched like a lifetime. My shadow fell across the white runner, dark and jagged, and I thought, this is what betrayal looks like when it finally shows its face. Let me take you back to before the chapel, before the lilies turned sour in my hands. Back to the life I thought was mine, steady as the old oak table in Mama's kitchen where I used to roll pie crusts with floured fingers. My name is Evelyn Grace Carter, Evie to everyone who loves me, and for 32 years I'd built a world I believed was unbreakable. I woke most mornings to the smell of coffee brewing in the red percolator Marcus insisted on using, even though it hissed like an angry cat. He'd be at the stove already, flipping pancakes in that ridiculous kiss-the-cook apron I bought him our first Christmas together. The kitchen window faced east, and the light would catch the gold flecks in his eyes when he grinned at me over his shoulder. "Morning, Mrs. Soon-to-be," he'd say, and I'd laugh because we weren't married yet. But the joke had been running 3 years and felt like truth. Marcus was a high school history teacher, the kind students quoted in yearbooks. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a voice that could hush a cafeteria riot. He kept a tiny American flag tucked in the band of his watch because patriotism shouldn't be loud. I loved that about him, how he believed small gestures mattered. We met at the public library where I work as head of children's programming. He'd come in looking for books on the Underground Railroad for a lesson plan. I'd handed him The Water Dancer and told him it would break his students' hearts in the best way. He came back the next week to tell me it had. By the 3rd week, he was bringing me coffee with exactly 2 sugars and a dash of cinnamon, the way my daddy used to make it. Lila was already in my life by then, had been since we were 6, and she pushed Tommy Hargrove off the merry-go-round for calling me Four Eyes. We grew up 3 houses apart in Willow Creek, Georgia, population 4,200, 1 stoplight, and a diner that still served grits with every plate. Lila's mama worked nights at the textile mill. Mine taught 3rd grade. We shared secrets the way other kids shared candy, sticky and sweet. When my daddy died of a heart attack the summer we turned 16, Lila slept on a pallet beside my bed for 2 weeks straight, holding my hand until the crying stopped. She moved to Atlanta after college for a marketing job, but distance never dulled us. Every Friday night we had soul sister suppers, takeout on my couch, wine in jelly jars, recaps of the week. She'd tease Marcus about his terrible dance moves. He'd call her Hurricane Lila because she breezed in and rearranged my throw pillows without asking. The three of us fit. Or I thought we did. Our house was a 1930s bungalow with creaky pine floors and a porch swing that groaned like an old man. I'd painted the front door robin's egg blue the day we moved in, Marcus balancing the ladder while I sang off-key to Aretha. Inside, the living room smelled faintly of lemon oil and the lavender candles Lila sent every birthday. My mama's quilt, patchwork squares of our childhood dresses, draped the back of the couch. Marcus hung his grandfather's pocket watch on a nail by the door. It ticked loud enough to hear from the kitchen, a heartbeat for the house. Work was my joy. Storytime hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 20 toddlers on alphabet rugs, their mamas sipping coffee in the back. I'd wear the cat ear headband for Pete the Cat readings, and Marcus would sneak in sometimes, leaning against the stacks just to watch. Afterward, he'd kiss my temple and whisper, "You're magic with them." I believed him. I believed in us. Wedding planning started slow. We set the date for June 14th, our 4-year anniversary. Lila was maid of honor, obviously. She helped. Pick the venue, a barn outside town with fairy lights and wildflowers. Rustic chic, she called it, snapping photos on her phone. Marcus and I argued over cake flavors. He wanted chocolate, I wanted lemon. But it was the happy kind of arguing, the kind that ends with icing on noses and laughter. Lila tasted both samples and declared, "Do tiers, chocolate bottom, lemon top. Best of both worlds." We listened. We always listened to Lila. The night before the chapel disaster, I stayed late at the library for inventory. Marcus texted, "Lila's here helping with centerpieces. Don't rush, love. Eat something." I smiled. At my phone, picturing them at the kitchen table surrounded by mason jars and baby's breath. When I got home, the house was dark except for the porch light. A note on the counter in Marcus's neat teacher handwriting. Went to grab more ribbon. Back soon. Left you lasagna in the fridge. I reheated a square, ate standing up, texted Lila, "You're an angel for helping." She replied instantly, "Anything for my best girl? Sleep tight." I fell asleep on the couch waiting for Marcus, quilt pulled to my chin, the pocket watch ticking like it approved of everything. That was the last night I slept without the taste of betrayal in my mouth. The morning after lasagna and ribbon, I woke to the percolator hissing again and Marcus humming "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" off-key. He'd left a sticky note on the bathroom mirror. "You snore like a freight train, Carter. Love you anyway." I laughed so hard I smudged mascara on my cheek. Lila texted a selfie. Her in my kitchen, flower on her nose, holding a half-finished centerpiece like a trophy. "Your man can't tie a bow to save his life. Send help." I sent back the laughing, crying emoji and promised to swing by after my shift. That was a Saturday. The library closed at noon, so I stopped at the farmer's market for peaches. Marcus loved peach cobbler, and I loved the way his eyes lit up when I baked. The vendor, Mrs. Delgado, tucked an extra one in my bag. "For the groom," she winked. I beamed. Everyone in Willow Creek knew we were getting married. The cashier at Piggly Wiggly asked about my dress. The mailman wanted to know if we'd registered at Target. It felt like the whole town was holding its breath with us. When I got home, Marcus was in the backyard sanding the Adirondack chairs we'd bought for the reception. Sawdust clung to his forearms like gold dust. Lila sat cross-legged on the grass, weaving fairy lights through a wooden arch. She looked up, shaded her eyes. "There's the bride. Tell your fiancé he's doing it wrong." Marcus flicked a wood chip at her. "Tell my best woman she's bossy." I dropped the peaches on the picnic table and flopped between them, the grass cool through my sundress. Lila smelled like vanilla and turpentine from the craft store. Marcus smelled like cedar and sweat. I closed my eyes and thought, this is what happy feels like. We spent the afternoon like that, laughing, arguing over playlist order, eating peach slices straight from the knife. Lila told the story of the time in 10th grade when Marcus tried to ask me to homecoming but chickened out and asked her to deliver a note instead. He wrote it in calligraphy, she said, rolling her eyes. Who does that? Marcus groaned, cheeks pink. I kissed the top of his head. I still have it, I admitted. Lila squealed and tackled me into the grass. Evening settled soft and gold. We ordered pizza, half veggie for me and Lila, half meat lovers for Marcus, and ate on the porch swing, feet dangling. The pocket watch chimed 7 from inside. Lila leaned her head on my shoulder. You're gonna be the prettiest bride Willow Creek's ever seen, she murmured. Marcus reached across me to squeeze her knee. Second prettiest, he corrected. You're walking down the aisle first, remember? Lila laughed, but I caught something flicker across her face, gone so fast I thought I imagined it. Later, after she'd gone home to her apartment above the bakery, Marcus and I slow danced in the living room to Otis Redding. No shoes, just socks sliding on pine. He spun me under the ceiling fan, dipped me low enough that my hair brushed the floor. 1 week, he whispered against my temple. 1 week, and you're stuck with me. I buried my face in his neck, breathed him in. Cedar, soap, the faint sweetness of peach on his breath. Promise? I asked. He answered by kissing me until the record skipped. Sunday we went to church, Mama's church, the one with the crooked steeple and the choir that clapped off beat. Lila saved us seats in the third pew, her Bible already open to Proverbs. The preacher talked about covenant, about promises kept in the dark. I squeezed Marcus's hand. Lila passed me a peppermint from her purse, same as always. After service, the ladies circled with hugs and advice. Marry a man who prays. Keep the thermostat at 68. Never go to bed angry. I wrote it all down in the little leather journal Lila had gifted me for wedding planning. That afternoon, Marcus had grading to finish, so Lila and I drove to the bridal boutique for my final fitting. The dress hung on the rack like a cloud, ivory lace, off-the-shoulder sleeves, a skirt that swished when I walked. The seamstress pinned the hem while Lila sat on the velvet settee sipping champagne. You look like Grace Kelly, she said, voice thick. I twirled, caught my reflection, and for a moment didn't recognize the woman staring back. Radiant, sure, loved. Lila stood behind me in the mirror, hands on my shoulders. Our eyes met. I'm so happy for you, Evie, she said. I believed her. We stopped for milkshakes on the way home. Chocolate for her, strawberry for me. She talked about her new client, some startup needing social media strategy. I talked about the library's summer reading program. Normal talk, best friend talk. When she dropped me off, she hugged me so tight my ribs creaked. Love you to the moon, she said. I said it back. Meant it. That night, Marcus fell asleep with his head on my stomach, one arm flung across my hips. I traced the scar on his shoulder from a childhood bike wreck, listened to the watch tick, and thought about vows. In sickness and in health, forsaking all others. Simple words, solid words. I fell asleep smiling. Monday blurred into Tuesday, Tuesday into Thursday. Small moments stacked like bricks. Marcus burning toast and opening windows to hide the evidence. Lila sending me memes at 2 a.m. that made me laugh into my pillow. The way Marcus's students waved when they saw us at the grocery store. Life felt woven tight, no loose threads. Friday morning, the day before the chapel, I kissed Marcus goodbye on the porch. He had a field trip to the Civil Rights Museum. Lila had a client dinner in Atlanta. See you tonight, he said, kissing my wrist. Love you, Lila texted. Safe travels, Teach. Evie, call me when you wake up. I did. Left a voicemail singing Chapel of Love off-key. She never called back. I spent the day steaming my veil, polishing my grandmother's pearls, wrapping the groomsmen gifts. Pocket knives engraved with their initials. The house smelled like lemon polish and nerves. At 4:17 p.m., the florist called, bouquet delayed, would deliver direct to the venue tomorrow. I shrugged, small hiccup. Texted Marcus, bringing flowers myself in the morning. Surprise, he replied. You're too good to me. Heart emoji. I smiled so wide my cheeks hurt. I had no idea the surprise was waiting for me. Saturday morning, June 13th, the air smelled like cut grass and honeysuckle. I woke before the sun, too excited to sleep, and padded to the kitchen in Marcus's old Emery t-shirt. The percolator hissed its familiar complaint. I started coffee, then opened the fridge for eggs, empty carton. Marcus must have used the last ones yesterday. I scribbled eggs on the grocery list stuck to the fridge with a magnet shaped like Georgia. The pocket watch read 5:42, plenty of time. I showered, shaved my legs twice just to be sure, and blow-dried my hair until it fell in soft waves. The veil hung on the back of the bedroom door, glowing in the dawn light like a promise. I slipped into jeans and a white linen blouse, something easy for driving. My phone buzzed on the dresser, a text from Mama. Call when you're on the road, baby. Daddy's watching from heaven. I smiled, thumbs hovering, then typed back, will do. Love you. At 6:15 I loaded the car, veil in a garment bag, pearls in velvet, the bouquet box the florist had dropped off late last night. White roses, baby's breath, eucalyptus. I'd added a sprig of lavender from the porch pot because Marcus said it reminded him of me. The box smelled like a greenhouse. I set it gently on the passenger seat, buckled it in like a child. Marcus's truck was gone. Field trip, I remembered. Lila's apartment was 20 minutes away. I'd swing by, grab her, maybe stop for biscuits. I called her, straight to voicemail. Hey, it's Lil. Leave a message or text like a normal person. I laughed, left a sing-song, Rise and Shine, Maid of Honor. Picking you up in 30. Bring coffee. Hung up, turned on the radio. Otis again, because the universe has a sense of humor. The drive to Atlanta was easy. Windows down, hair whipping. I sang loud enough to scare crows. At Lila's complex, I parked under the magnolia tree that dropped petals on her windshield every spring. Her Civic was missing. Odd. She'd said she was working from home yesterday. I texted, Here, where you at? No dots. I waited 5 minutes, engine idling, then 10. The coffee I'd brought her went cold in the cup holder. I called Marcus. Voicemail too. Hey, it's me. Field trip over already? Lila's not here, call me. A tiny prickle started at the base of my neck, but I brushed it off. They were probably together, grabbing breakfast, surprising me with something sweet. I pictured them at the diner, Lila stealing Marcus's hash browns, him pretending to be annoyed. I smiled, backed out, headed toward the chapel anyway. The florist had the address. I'd drop the bouquet and come back for them. The chapel sat off a gravel road 10 miles outside Willow Creek, white-clappered, steeple leaning just enough to be charming. I'd found it online 6 months ago. Marcus had kissed me stupid in the parking lot the first time we visited. I pulled in at 7:38. 2 cars in the lot, a silver sedan I didn't recognize, and Lila's Civic. My stomach flipped, but in a good way. They beat me here. I grabbed the bouquet box, garment bag over my shoulder, and crunched across the gravel. The side door was propped open with a brick. Inside, the vestibule smelled of lemon polish and old hymnals. I heard voices, low, urgent. Marcus's laugh, but tighter than usual. Lila's murmur, too soft to catch words. I smiled, ready to yell, surprise. When I rounded the corner and saw them, they stood by the altar, backs to me. Lila in jeans and a black tank top, hair in a messy bun. Marcus in khakis and the blue shirt I'd ironed Thursday night. He held a small white box, ring box, and Lila's hands were on his forearms, steadying him. She said something I couldn't hear. He nodded, swallowed hard. Then she rose on tiptoes and kissed his cheek, slow, deliberate. Not a friendly peck, a stay-strong kiss, the kind you give someone before bad news. I froze. The bouquet box slipped in my sweaty grip. Marcus turned, saw me, and his face went slack. Evie, my name cracked in his throat. Lila spun, eyes wide. You're early, she blurted, then winced like she'd said too much. I found my voice. Field trip over? It came out sharper than I meant. Marcus stepped forward, hands out. It's not... He stopped, glanced at Lila. She lifted her chin, that same cookie-stealing dare from childhood. My pulse hammered in my ears. What's going on? I asked. The chapel felt suddenly cold despite the June heat. Lila spoke first. We were practicing. The ring-bearer's sick. Marcus asked me to stand in. Her voice was steady, but her fingers worried the hem of her tank top. Marcus nodded too fast. Yeah, just logistics. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at the altar. 2 chairs instead of 1. A small table with a unity candle. Ours, the one we'd picked together. My throat closed. Why are you here at 7:30 in the morning for logistics? My voice trembled. The bouquet box felt heavier, like it was filling with stones. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. Couldn't sleep. Wanted to see the space one more time. Lila offered to help. Lila smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You know me. Control freak. I wanted to believe them. God, I wanted to. But something was off. The way Marcus's shoulders curled inward. The way Lila's gaze flicked to the side door like she was calculating escape routes. I set the bouquet on a pew, the roses trembling. Okay, I said slowly. Then let's practice. Show me. They exchanged a look, quick, guilty. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. Lila laughed, too bright. It's stupid. You'll laugh. We were being dramatic. She stepped away from him, put space between their bodies like that erased the last 2 minutes. Come on, let's get breakfast. I'm starving. I didn't move. The prickle in my neck had spread to my chest, hot and tight. Marcus? I asked. He finally looked at me, and for the first time in 4 years, I couldn't read him. Evie, he said, it's nothing. I swear, but it wasn't nothing. I felt it in the air, thick as the candle smoke. I picked up the bouquet, hugged it to my chest like armor. I'll wait in the car, I said. My voice sounded far away. Take your time. I walked out before they could see me shake. I sat in my car with the engine off, windows cracked just enough for the honeysuckle to drift in and choke me. The bouquet box stared at me from the passenger seat like it knew something I didn't. My phone buzzed. Lila, we're coming out. Pancakes? I didn't answer. I watched the chapel door instead, counting heartbeats between the ticks of the cooling engine. They emerged together, Marcus holding the door for her like always. Lila's bun had come loose. Dark curls stuck to her neck with sweat. Marcus carried the white box, definitely a ring box now that I saw it in daylight. They stopped under the magnolia, heads bent close. Lila touched his elbow, a small private gesture. He nodded, slipped the box into his pocket, and they walked toward me. I rolled the window all the way down. Change of plans, I said. My voice sounded like someone else's, calm, flat. I'm going home. You two finish, whatever this is. Marcus's face crumpled. Evie, wait. I started the car. Lila leaned in, perfume and panic. Don't be dramatic. It's not what you think. I looked at her then, really looked. Her pupils were huge, lips pressed thin. Then tell me what it is, I said. She opened her mouth, closed it. Marcus just stood there, hands in his pockets like a schoolboy caught cheating on a test. I backed out, gravel spitting under the tires. In the rear view, they didn't move. Just 2 figures shrinking, the chapel behind them glowing white like a lie. I drove with the radio off, the silence so loud my ears rang. At the stoplight by the diner, I glanced at my phone. 3 missed calls from Mama, 1 text from Marcus. Please let me explain. I turned the phone face down. Home was 20 minutes. I made it in 15. The bungalow looked smaller. The blue door faded. Inside, the air was stale, last night's lasagna smell clinging to the curtains. The pocket watch ticked louder than I remembered, like it was scolding me for being late to my own unraveling. I set the bouquet on the kitchen table, roses drooping already. My hands shook so badly I couldn't open the box. I went to the bedroom instead. Marcus's side of the bed was unmade, sheets twisted like he'd fought sleep. His phone charger was gone. Odd, he always left it plugged in. I opened his nightstand drawer, empty except for a pack of gum and the library book he'd been reading. No charger, no watch. My stomach dipped. I sat on the edge of the bed, pressed my palms to my thighs until the trembling stopped. Think, Evie. They'd been at the chapel at 7:30 a.m., Lila's car, Marcus's truck missing from home. The ring box, the kiss on the cheek that lingered too long. I opened my phone, scrolled to our shared photo album. Last photo. Thursday night, the 3 of us on the porch swing, Lila's head on my shoulder, Marcus's arm around us both. Caption, my people. I stared until the screen went black. I called the school. Secretary answered on the 2nd ring. Willow Creek High, this is Donna. Hey Donna, it's Evie Carter. Marcus had a field trip today, right? A pause, papers rustling. Nope, honey. That was Tuesday. Today's professional development. Teachers don't come in till noon. My mouth went dry. Thanks, I managed, and hung up. I stood in the middle of the bedroom, the watch ticking like a bomb. Field trip lie? Chapel at dawn, ring box. I opened Marcus's closet. His garment bag for the tux was gone. My wedding dress hung alone, shrouded in plastic. I touched the lace, felt the tiny seed pearls under my fingertips, and something inside me cracked open. I went to the kitchen, opened my laptop. Our shared Google Drive, wedding folder, last opened 3:14 a.m. by Marcus. I clicked. A new document, elope, checklist, .docx. My breath stopped. I opened it. Venue, Little White Chapel. Confirmed. 8 a.m. Saturday. Efficient. Pastor Jenkins. Cash. $200 rings, Lila's grandmother's set, resize complete, dress, Evie's, alterations done, pickup Friday. License, filed Thursday. Fulton County witnesses, Tommy Hargrove, Sarah Beth My Vision tunneled. Evie's dress, my dress. I scrolled down, photos. Lila in my dress, veil and all, taken in our bedroom mirror. Timestamp, 1:07 a.m. today. Marcus's reflection behind her, arms around her waist, chin on her shoulder. Both smiling like they'd won something. I closed the laptop so hard the table shook. The roses stared at me, petals curling brown at the edges. I picked up my phone, hands steady now with something colder than fear. I opened our group text, me, Marcus, Lila, typed chapel. 8 a.m. I'll be there. Sent. No dots. No response. I went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face. The mirror showed a woman I didn't know, eyes too wide, mouth set hard. I opened the medicine cabinet, took out the lavender oil Lila had given me for stress. The label was in her handwriting, for my Evie, when the world gets loud. I unscrewed the cap, poured it down the sink. The smell filled the room, cloying, fake. I dressed slowly. White sundress, the one Marcus said made me look like moonlight. Pearl earrings, no makeup. I wanted them to see my face, raw. I took the bouquet, thorns pricking through the paper, and walked to the car. The drive back was slower, deliberate. I rolled the windows up, let the air thicken. At 7:56, I pulled into the chapel lot. 3 cars now. Lila's, the silver sedan, and a pickup I recognized, Tommy Hargrove's. I sat a moment, engine off. The organ started inside. Our song, Pachelbel's Canon, but wrong, rushed. I got out, bouquet in hand, and walked toward the door. Gravel crunched under my sandals like bones. The side door was locked now. I went to the front. Through the glass pane, I saw them. Lila in my dress, veil floating. Marcus in his tux, hands clasped in front. Pastor Jenkins smiling. Tommy and Sarah Beth in the pews. The organ swelled. I pushed the door open just as the pastor said, "Dearly beloved." And that's when I stepped inside. The door creaked like an old man's knees and every head turned. The organ note hung in the air, sour and unfinished. I stood on the threshold, bouquet bleeding in my arms, the scent of roses and eucalyptus suddenly too sweet, like funeral parlor air. Lila's shoulders stiffened under the lace of my dress. Marcus's mouth opened, but no sound came. Pastor Jenkins blinked behind his wire-rimmed glasses, the words "dearly beloved" still clinging to his tongue. I took one step inside. The runner was white satin, same as we'd ordered, but now it felt like a trap. My sandals left faint prints, dust from the gravel road, a trail of where I'd been. The lilies on the altar were the exact shade I'd chosen, creamy white with gold throats. Someone had arranged them in the mason jars I'd painted myself. The ones Marcus said were too much work. They looked perfect. They looked stolen, Evie, Marcus finally rasped. His voice cracked on the second syllable, like a boy's. He took a half step toward me, hands out, palms up, pleading or surrender, I couldn't tell. The ring box was gone from his pocket. The bulge was in his left hand now, closed tight. Lila didn't move. Her veil trembled with each breath. The pearls I'd sewn on myself, catching the light like tiny accusations. Pastor Jenkins cleared his throat. "Miss Carter, I presume?" His voice was kind, confused. He glanced at the program in his hand, thick cardstock embossed with our names. Marcus and Evelyn, June 14th. He looked from me to Lila, then back, the pieces not fitting. I found my voice. It came out low, steady, like I was reading to the toddlers at story time. "That's my dress," I said. The words landed soft but heavy, the way snow does when it's about to bury you. Lila's fingers fluttered to the lace at her throat. "Evie," she started, but I kept talking, louder now. "Those are my flowers. That's my song. This is my wedding." Tommy Hargrove stood up in the back pew, all 6'4" of him, face red. "Now hold on!" Sarah Beth yanked him down by his sleeve. The organist, Mrs. Landry from the Baptist choir, let her hands fall from the keys. Silence rushed in, thick as the candle smoke. Marcus took another step. "Let us explain." His eyes were wet, but he wasn't crying yet. Just glassy, like a man staring down a train. I looked at the ring in his fist, plain gold band, the one we'd picked at the jeweler in Atlanta. The inside was engraved, M&E, 6/14/25, today's date. "Not tomorrow, explain," I said. My voice didn't shake. I was proud of that. "Start with why my best friend is wearing my dress. Start with why you're holding my ring." Lila finally moved. She turned fully, the skirt swishing like it was glad to be free of me. Her makeup was perfect. My shade of lipstick, the one Marcus said made my mouth look like a secret. Her eyes were red-rimmed but dry. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," she said. Her voice was small, the one she used when we were kids and she'd broken Mama's vase. "We didn't want to hurt you, we?" I repeated. The word tasted like rust. Marcus swallowed. "It started after the engagement party." His voice was hoarse. "You were so stressed about the guest list, the budget. Lila was helping. We were up late talking. One night it just happened." He looked at the floor, at the runner, anywhere but me. I stopped it. "I swear I did. But then you didn't," I finished. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my ribs. I looked at Lila. "How long?" She pressed her lips together. The lipstick smudged, a tiny betrayal of its own. 4 months, she whispered. "We tried to end it. We really did. 4 months." I counted backward in my head. February, when Marcus started grading late at school. March, when Lila's client dinners ran past midnight. April, when I found a receipt for a hotel in Buckhead and he said it was a teacher conference. May, when he stopped touching me in his sleep. I took another step down the aisle. The bouquet was heavy now, thorns pricking through the paper into my palms. Blood dotted the white roses, dark and perfect. "You used my venue deposit," I said. It wasn't a question. "You took my dress from the alteration shop. You filed the license with my name on it." Lila nodded just once. "We thought, if we eloped quietly, you'd be angry, but you'd move on. You're strong, Evie, stronger than me." Her voice cracked on me. "I couldn't watch you marry him knowing what?" I was close enough now to see the tremor in her hands. "That you wanted him? That you'd been sleeping in my bed while I was at work?" Marcus flinched. "It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like." I stopped at the first pew. Sarah Beth was crying silently, mascara streaking. Tommy looked like he wanted to punch something. Pastor Jenkins closed his program, the snap loud in the quiet. Marcus opened his fist. The ring glinted. "I love her," he said. The words were simple, brutal. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I do. I love Lila. The chapel tilted. I gripped the pew to stay upright. The wood was warm from the morning sun, real. I focused on that. "And me?" I asked. My voice was barely air. "What was I?" He looked at me then, finally. His eyes were the same hazel I'd fallen for, but older somehow. "You were home," he said. "Safe." I thought that was enough. Lila stepped forward, veil brushing the floor. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know that doesn't fix it, but I am." I looked at her, at my best friend, my sister in every way but blood. The girl who'd held my hair when I puked after Daddy's funeral. Who'd driven 6 hours to bring me soup when I had the flu. Who'd stood in my kitchen last week laughing about cake flavors. I looked at the dress clinging to her hips, the veil I'd steamed with shaking hands. I looked at the man I'd planned to grow old with. His shoulders curved like he was shrinking. I took the final steps to the altar. The unity candle flickered between us, our names carved into the wax. I set the bouquet down beside it, blood and all. "You want this?" I asked them both. "Take it, but you don't get to hide." I turned to the pews. "Tommy, Sarah Beth, record this, post it. Tell everyone. Tommy's phone was already up. Sarah Beth nodded, tears falling faster. I faced Marcus and Lila again. You don't get my dress. You don't get my flowers. You don't get my name on your lie. I reached for Lila's veil, my veil, and pulled. The comb caught in her hair. She gasped as a chunk came free. I held it up, lace trembling. This is mine. Then I walked out. The gravel bit into my soles as I crossed the lot, veil clutched in one fist like a battle flag. My car sat where I'd left it, driver's door still ajar, bouquet box gaping on the seat. I didn't look back, but I heard the chapel door bang open behind me, Marcus's voice cracking across the morning. Evie, wait, please! Footsteps, fast, then Lila's sharper ones in borrowed heels. I kept walking. The sun was higher now, heat shimmering off the hood of my car, turning the air wavy. Marcus caught my elbow just as I reached the handle. His grip was gentle, the way he used to hold me when we danced in the kitchen, but it burned now. Let go, I said. My voice was ice. He did, hands falling like dead weight. Lila stopped a few feet away, barefoot. She'd kicked off the shoes that didn't fit her anyway. The veil trailed from her fingers, grass stained at the hem. Take me home, I told the car. Not them. I slid behind the wheel, slammed the door. The engine turned over on the first try, thank God. Marcus slapped the window with his palm. Evie, talk to me. I rolled it down an inch. You said enough. I shifted into reverse. Lila stepped forward, tears finally spilling. I'll give the dress back. I'll pay for everything. You can't pay for this. I looked at her then, really looked. Her mascara had run in perfect twin rivers, the lipstick smeared into a bruise. She looked small without the veil, younger than 32. You wanted him? You have him. But you don't get to keep pieces of me. I backed out slow, tires spitting gravel like teeth. In the rear view, they stood side by side, Marcus's arm half raised, Lila's hands pressed to her mouth. The chapel door hung open. Tommy's phone glinted in the sun. I turned onto the main road and drove. The first mile was silence. The second, my phone started blowing up, texts, calls, voicemails. I pulled over at the gas station by the county line, hands shaking too hard to hold the wheel. I opened the messages. Mama, baby, what is Tommy talking about? Call me library group chat. Evie, are you okay? Unknown number, saw the video. I'm so sorry, Marcus. I'm coming to the house. We need to talk, Lila. Please don't hate me forever. I turned the phone off. The gas station smelled like diesel and stale coffee. I bought a bottle of water with trembling fingers, drank half, poured the rest over my head. The cold shocked the tears loose, silent, hot, sliding down my neck into the collar of my sundress. I cried until my ribs hurt, until the attendant knocked on the window and asked if I needed help. I shook my head, started the car again. Home was 20 minutes. I made it in 12. The bungalow looked obscene in the sunlight, blue door too cheerful, porch swing swaying like it was laughing. I left the veil on the passenger seat, grabbed my keys and went inside. The pocket watch ticked like a heartbeat. I unplugged it, set it face down on the counter. Silence rushed in, thick and ugly. I went to the bedroom. Marcus's side was still unmade. I opened his closet, half the hangers empty, his favorite flannel gone, the tux bag missing. I pulled open his dresser drawers, socks, underwear, the ugly Christmas sweater from his mom, gone. He'd packed while I was steaming the veil, while I was singing Chapel of Love into Lila's voicemail. I sat on the floor, back against the bed, and opened the nightstand again. Under the gum was a folded note in Lila's handwriting. If you find this, know I tried to stop it. I love you both. I crumpled it, threw it across the room. It hit the wedding dress bag, slid down the plastic like a tear. The front door opened. Evie? Marcus's voice raw. I didn't answer. Footsteps in the hall, then the bedroom doorway filled with him. Tux jacket gone, shirt untucked, tie loose like a noose. His eyes were red, face blotchy. I didn't want you to find out like this, I laughed. It came out sharp, foreign. How did you want me to find out, Marcus? A postcard from your honeymoon? He knelt, reached for my hands. I pulled away. Don't. He sat back on his heels. I packed a bag last night. I was going to tell you after the ceremony tomorrow. Cancel everything. I thought it would be kinder. Kinder. I tasted the word. You let me steam my own veil while you resized rings with my best friend. He flinched. It wasn't planned. It just grew. Lila understood things about me you never... He stopped, horror dawning. I didn't mean that. But you said it. I stood, legs shaky. Get out! Evie, out! My voice cracked like a whip. He stood slowly, hands open. I'll stay at Tommy's. We'll figure out the house, the accounts. I don't want your figure-outs. I pointed to the door. I want you gone. He left. The door closed soft, like he was afraid to break anything else. I heard his truck start, gravel crunching again. Then nothing. I went to the kitchen, opened the fridge. The lasagna was still there, congealed. I dumped it in the trash, plate and all. The sound of ceramic shattering felt good. I opened the wedding folder on the counter. Guest list, RSVPs, the seating chart I'd color-coded. I tore it in half, then quarters, then smaller, until paper snow covered the floor. My phone buzzed on the counter, screen cracked from when I'd thrown it earlier. Mama's face lit up. I answered, "Baby?" Her voice was thick with sleep and fear. "Tommy sent a video." "What in God's name? I caught them, Mama." My voice was flat. Lila in my dress. Marcus with the ring. They were eloping. Silence, then a sharp intake. "Where are you?" "Home." "I'm coming." She was there in 15 minutes, still in her housecoat, hair in curlers. She didn't speak, just opened her arms. I fell into them like I was 6 again, sobbing into her neck that smelled like Pond's cream and coffee. She held me until the tears ran dry, then led me to the couch, quilt around my shoulders. We sat in the dark. The watch was still face down, but I could feel it ticking through the silence. Mama stroked my hair. "What do you need, baby?" I thought of the veil in the car, the blood on the roses, the dress hanging in the chapel like a ghost. "I need it to stop hurting," I whispered. She kissed my forehead. "It will. Not today, but it will." I closed my eyes. The bungalow smelled like lemon polish and betrayal. Outside, the porch swing creaked in the wind, empty. Mama stayed until the sun came up, her hand never leaving mine. We didn't talk much, just the soft rustle of her housecoat when she got up to make tea, the clink of the spoon against the mug. Chamomile, 2 sugars, the way Daddy used to fix it when nightmares woke me. She set the cup in my lap, wrapped my fingers around it. "Drink," she said. I did. It tasted like childhood and mercy. At 6:12 a.m., the first text from an unknown number came through. Saw the video. "You okay? Mrs. Delgado, Market." Then another. "Library's closed today. Take care of you. Bored." By 6:30, my phone was a hive. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I turned it face down beside the watch. Mama watched me, eyes soft. "You don't have to answer anybody yet." But I did. Not with words. With movement, I stood, legs stiff from the floor. "I need my dress back," I said. My voice sounded scraped raw, but it worked. Mama nodded once, like she'd been waiting for me to choose a direction. "I'll drive." We took her old Buick, the one with the cracked vinyl seats and the pine tree air freshener that had lost its scent years ago. The chapel looked smaller in daylight, ordinary. No cars in the lot except a groundskeeper's truck. The front door was locked. Mama didn't hesitate. She marched to the side entrance, tried the knob. Open. We slipped inside. The air was cooler, stale with yesterday's candles. My dress hung from a coat rack near the altar, veil reattached, looking rumpled and ashamed. The unity candle had burned low, wax pooled like tears. I walked the aisle slow, each step deliberate. Mama stayed by the door, arms crossed, guarding. I touched the lace at the shoulder, my lace, my stitches. A grass stain bloomed near the hem where Lila had knelt in the parking lot. I lifted the hanger. The dress was heavier than I remembered, like it had absorbed the weight of the morning. I folded it over my arm, veil and all. Pastor Jenkins appeared from the office, coffee mug in hand. He startled when he saw us. "Miss Carter." "I'm taking what's mine," I said. My voice didn't shake. "You can bill them for the hour." He opened his mouth, closed it, nodded. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't know until I know." I met his eyes. "You're not the one who lied." Mama held the door. We walked out into the heat. The dress went in the back seat, spread careful so the train didn't crease. Mama started the car. Where to? Home first, then the bank. We stopped at the bungalow long enough for me to change. Jeans, t-shirt, hair in a knot. I packed a small duffel, pajamas, toothbrush, the leather journal Lila had given me. I left Marcus's things untouched. In the kitchen, I found the joint checking account debit card, cut it in half with kitchen shears. The snip-snip echoed. The bank opened at 9. I was third in line. The teller, Janine, knew me from story time. Her son loved Pete the cat. Her eyes widened when she saw my face. "Morning, Miss Evie. Everything okay?" "I need to remove Marcus Hale from all accounts," I said. Effective immediately. She didn't ask questions, just pulled forms, had me sign, initial, sign again. "You want the balance transferred to a new account in your name only?" "Yes." I watched the numbers move. Savings, checking, the wedding fund we'd labeled honeymoon. $4,312.47. I left him $20 for gas. By 10:15, I had new cards, new PIN, new everything. Mama waited in the car, engine running. "Next?" she asked. "Lawyer." I knew one, Sarah Beth's cousin, Ruth Ann, family law. I called from the parking lot. She answered on the second ring. "Heard what happened. Come now." Ruth Ann's office smelled like lemon verbena and printer ink. She hugged me hard, no questions, then sat me down with sweet tea and a yellow legal pad. "Tell me what you want." "I want the house," I said. "It's in my name. Daddy left it to me. Marcus is on the mortgage, but I make the payments. I want him off. I want no alimony, no claims. Clean break," she scribbled. "Georgia's equitable distribution. You'll have to buy him out or refinance. You got equity?" "Some, and the wedding fund." I swallowed. "I'll sell the ring if I have to." Ruth Ann nodded. "We'll draft a separation agreement. He signs or we go to court. Your call." "Draft it." My voice was steel. "I'll be back this afternoon with deposits." Mama drove me to the jeweler next, the one where we'd picked the bands. Mr. Patel recognized me, smile faltering. "Miss Carter, the rings." I'm returning mine. Melting his. I slid the engagement ring across the velvet. The diamond winked, innocent. "How much?" He quoted a number. I nodded. "Do it today. Check to Evelyn Carter." Back in the car, Mama squeezed my knee. "Proud of you, baby." I wasn't proud yet. I was moving, that was all. 1 foot, 1 decision, 1 snip of the scissors at a time. By noon, the town knew. I saw it in the way Mrs. Landry slowed her minivan at the stoplight, eyes wide behind her bifocals. In the way the cashier at Piggly Wiggly rang up my milk and bread without the usual chatter. The video, Tommy's shaky phone footage, had spread like kudzu. I didn't watch it. I didn't need to. I'd lived it. Mama dropped me at the library. The board had closed it for the day, but I had keys. I needed the quiet, the smell of old paper and lemon oil. I locked the door behind me, flipped the sign to closed, and went to my office in the back. The children's corner looked forlorn, alphabet rug rolled up, beanbags stacked. I sat at my desk, opened the laptop, and started a new document, things that are mine. The bungalow, my name, my job, my mama, my grief, for now. I stared at the list until the cursor blinked itself to sleep. My phone buzzed. Lila. I let it ring. Voicemail. I didn't play it. Another buzz. Marcus. Same. I opened the group text instead, the one we'd used for wedding plans. The last message was from me yesterday, bringing flowers myself in the morning. Surprise. Below it, a string of heart emojis from both of them. I deleted the thread, then I deleted their contacts, then I blocked the numbers. The silence that followed was clean, surgical. I printed Ruth Ann's separation agreement, 6 pages, crisp and official. I signed where the sticky arrows told me. I folded it into an envelope, wrote Marcus Hale in block letters on the front. I addressed another to Lila. Return to sender. Inside, the grass-stained veil, the blood-specked roses I'd dried in the oven overnight, brittle and brown, I sealed both with packing tape, the kind that screams when you try to open it. Mama picked me up at 3. We drove to the post office. I mailed the envelopes, certified, signature required. The clerk, Doris, who'd known me since I lost my first tooth, didn't ask. Just stamped, slid the receipts across the counter. "You take care, sugar," she whispered. I nodded. Next stop, the alterations shop. Mrs. Chen met me at the door, eyes soft. I heard, "I'm so sorry." She'd already removed Lila's name from the ticket. Dresses cleaned, pressed, no charge. I hugged her. The lace smelled like starch and forgiveness. We loaded the dress into the Buick. I looked at it in the rear view, ivory ghost, and felt something shift. Not peace, not yet. But space. Evening found me on the porch swing with a legal pad and a glass of sweet tea. Mama had gone home to change. She'd be back with supper. I made a new list. Change locks, cancel venue, caterer, band return gifts, therapy. Find one. Breathe. I was on number 4 when Marcus's truck pulled up. He got out slow, like the air was molasses. He carried a duffel, the one I'd packed for our honeymoon. His eyes were swollen, shirt wrinkled. He stopped at the bottom step. "Can we talk?" I didn't stand. "Ruth Ann's drafting papers. You'll get them tomorrow." He flinched. "I don't want the house. You don't get to decide what you want anymore." My voice was flat, tired. "You took enough." He set the duffel on the step. "My clothes, some books. I'll be at Tommy's." He hesitated. "I'm sorry, Evie. I know that's worthless, but—" "It is." I looked at him then. Really looked. The man who'd burned toast and kissed my temple and promised forever. He looked smaller. "Go." He went. I changed the locks the next morning. Home Depot, 7 a.m. The clerk showed me how to rekey the deadbolt myself. I did it on the kitchen table, screwdriver steady in my hand. The new key was bright brass, untouched. I hung it on the hook by the door, right where Marcus's old one used to be. I canceled everything. Venue first, deposit non-refundable, but they waived the rest when I told them why. Caterer cried on the phone, offered to donate the food to the women's shelter. Band sent a refund and a note. We've all been there. I returned the gifts in batches. Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, the little boutique in Atlanta. I kept the quilt Mama made, the pocket watch, face up now, ticking softer, the lavender candle unburned. Therapy was harder. I called 3 offices before I found one with an opening. Dr. Patel, soft voice, Tuesday afternoons. I booked 6 sessions. "We'll start where you are," she said. I believed her. I didn't sleep much. Nights were the worst, the bed too big, the sheets smelling like him even after I washed them twice. I moved to the couch, quilt pulled to my chin, the watch on the coffee table ticking like a metronome for my grief. I cried when I needed to. I didn't when I didn't. I ate when Mama brought food, drank water when I remembered. One morning, I woke to birdsong and the smell of coffee I hadn't made. Mama was in the kitchen, humming. She'd let herself in with the spare key I'd given her. "Pancakes," she announced, "and then we're planting something." We did. Marigolds along the walk, bright as forgiveness. My hands in the dirt felt like prayer. I went back to work on Wednesday. The library was quiet, respectful. The kids asked where Mr. Hale was. I said he was busy. They accepted it. Story time was The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I read it without crying. Evenings, I walked. Past the diner, the stoplight, the oak tree where Marcus first kissed me. I didn't avoid the memories. I walked through them, letting them blur like watercolor. I didn't forgive. Not yet. But I started to breathe. Willow Creek is small enough that news travels faster than the mail, and by the end of the first week, the story had grown legs, arms, and a few extra heads. Tommy's video, 93 seconds of me in the chapel doorway, Lila in my dress, Marcus frozen like a deer, had been shared, stitched, and screen-recorded until it lived on every phone from the high school to the senior center. Someone added sad violin music. Someone else slowed it down so you could see the exact moment my bouquet hit the pew. I never watched the final cut, but I didn't have to. People told me. The first ripple hit the school. Marcus took a leave of absence, paid, because the principal didn't want the optics of firing a teacher mid-scandal. Parents called for his job anyway. A petition circled, "Protect our children from moral corruption." It collected 312 signatures before the school board shut it down. Students made memes. Marcus's yearbook photo with devil horns, Lila's LinkedIn headshot with the word "homewrecker" in red. The guidance counselor spent 3 afternoons pulling kids off phones. Lila lost her biggest client the day the video dropped. The startup's CEO, a church deacon, sent a polite email. "We wish you the best in your future endeavors." By Friday, her roster was down to 2 local boutiques and a dentist who didn't care about gossip. She stopped posting on Instagram. Her apartment above the bakery stayed dark after 6 p.m. I stayed off social media entirely. Mama screened my calls. The library became sanctuary. Quiet shelves, the hush of pages turning, toddlers who didn't know my name was trending. But even there, whispers followed. Mrs. Landry cornered me by the cookbooks. "I always knew that girl was trouble," she hissed, clutching Southern living like a shield. I smiled, shelved a book on grief, and moved on. Sunday church was the hardest. Mama insisted we go, heads up baby, so we slid into the 3rd pew 5 minutes late. The choir was mid-hymn, heads swiveled like owls. Lila's mama, Miss Diane, sat in her usual spot near the front, shoulders rigid. She didn't turn around. After service, the pastor shook my hand too long. "We're praying for you, Sister Evelyn." I nodded, throat tight. The fallout wasn't all cruelty. The diner gave me free coffee for a month. Mrs. Delgado slipped extra peaches into my bag every market day. The library board voted a surprise bonus for emotional distress. A card signed by every regular Storytime mom sat on my desk. "You are enough." I kept it in the top drawer. Marcus tried to apologize publicly. He posted on the town Facebook page a long, rambling thing about mistakes and growth and asking for grace. Comments tore him apart. Someone tagged the school. Someone else posted a screenshot of Lila's old engagement announcement to her college boyfriend. The post was gone in an hour, but the damage was done. Lila came to the library on a Tuesday, rain slicking her hair to her cheeks. She wore sunglasses inside, ridiculous in the dim light. "Can we talk?" she asked. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying or smoking or both. I was reshelving board books. I didn't stop. "Children's section is closed for Storytime prep." "Please, Evie." She reached for my arm. I stepped back. A toddler watched from the carpet, thumb in mouth. I lowered my voice. "You don't get to come to my work." She left without another word. The automatic doors whooshed shut behind her like a period at the end of a sentence. By the 2nd week, the town had chosen sides like it was picking teams for kickball. The diner split down the middle, left booths for Team Evie, right for the few who still nodded at Marcus. The bakery below Lila's apartment put up a sign, closed for renovations, but everyone knew the owner had asked her to vacate. The landlord, Mr. Kim, left a polite note on her door. Lease terminated early, security deposit returned. She moved out on a Thursday, boxes stacked in the rain, no one offering to help. Marcus's mama called me once, voice trembling through the line. "Evelyn, I raised him better." I let her talk until she ran out of words, then said, "I know you did, Mrs. Hale," and hung up. She sent a casserole anyway, chicken and wild rice, the one she brought when Daddy died. I ate it on the porch with Mama and didn't salt it once. The school board held an emergency meeting. Parents packed the cafeteria, folding chairs, scraping linoleum. Marcus wasn't there. Ruth Ann had advised him to stay away, but his absence spoke louder. A mother stood, baby on her hip, and read from a printed email, "How can we trust a man who lies to the woman he swore to love?" Applause rippled. The superintendent promised a thorough review. By Friday, Marcus's leave was unpaid, his classroom reassigned to a long-term sub. His nameplate came down from the door. Lila's professional world kept shrinking. A national marketing forum she'd been scheduled to speak at canceled her slot, scheduling conflict. Her old college roommate posted a throwback photo with the caption, "Dodged a bullet." The comments were brutal. Someone started a hashtag, Lila Liar. It trended locally for 48 hours. The chapel posted a statement on their website. "We regret the pain caused and are reviewing officiant protocols." Pastor Jenkins called me personally. "I've taken early retirement," he said, voice thin. I should have asked more questions. I told him to plant a garden. He promised he would. Not everything was punishment. The women's shelter received 300 pounds of catered food: prime rib, mashed potatoes, wedding cake with buttercream roses. They sent me a photo, residents smiling around folding tables, paper plates piled high. The caption read, "Love wins." I printed it, taped it inside my locker at work. Marcus tried to return the tux. The rental shop refused. Too late, too public. He donated it to the theater department instead. The drama teacher texted me a picture. A sophomore wearing it for our town, sleeves too long, grinning like he'd won the lottery. Lila's mama showed up at my door one evening, umbrella dripping on the welcome mat. Miss Diane looked smaller than I remembered, gray roots showing under her scarf. "I don't excuse what she did," she said before I could speak. "But she's my baby." Her eyes filled. "She's staying with me till she gets on her feet." I nodded. "Tell her the porch light's off," I said. Miss Diane left without another word. The consequences weren't loud anymore. They were quiet, cumulative. Marcus's truck gathered dust in Tommy's driveway. Lila's apartment stayed empty, a for rent sign crooked in the window. People stopped posting. The video disappeared from most feeds, flagged, removed, forgotten by algorithms if not by hearts. I kept working. Storytime returned to full capacity, kids clamoring for Where the Wild Things Are. I read it with the monster voices they loved, my own roar steady. After, a little girl tugged my sleeve. "Miss Evie, are you sad?" I knelt. "Sometimes," I said. "But I'm here." She hugged my neck, sticky with juice, and ran off. One Saturday, I found Marcus's nameplate in the library donation bin. Brass, scratched, still warm from someone's pocket. I set it on the checkout desk, face down. A teen volunteer asked if we should recycle it. I said, "Not yet." I wasn't ready to erase him completely. Not out of love, out of evidence. The town settled into a new normal. People still whispered, but softer. Eyes lingered, then slid away. I became a cautionary tale and a quiet hero in the same breath. I didn't correct either version. I just kept moving, one foot, one breath, one marigold blooming bright along the walk. The first frost came early that October, sugar-coating the marigolds I'd planted with Mama. I woke to silence, no ticking watch, no percolator hissing, just the soft creak of the bungalow settling into winter. I'd moved the pocket watch to the mantel weeks ago, face up, hands frozen at 7:38, the exact minute I'd pulled into the chapel lot. A reminder, not a wound. I started running. Not far, just to the stoplight and back, sneakers slapping wet pavement, breath fogging in the cold. The first mile hurt everywhere, lungs, legs, heart. By the third week, I could do 2 without stopping. I ran past the diner where the left booths were mine again, past the bakery with its new tenant, a cupcake shop run by 2 sisters from Macon. I ran until the sting in my chest was from effort, not memory. Therapy with Dr. Patel became Tuesday liturgy. We sat in her office that smelled of sandalwood and mint tea, sunlight striping the rug through half-closed blinds. She never pushed, just asked gentle questions that unraveled me like old yarn. "What does forgiveness feel like in your body?" she'd say. I'd close my eyes and search, tight throat, clenched fists, then slowly, a loosening in my shoulders. Not absolution, just space. I refinanced the house. Ruth Ann walked me through it. New loan, my name only. Marcus's equity bought out with the melted-down ring and half the honeymoon fund. The closing was quiet. Me, the banker, a notary who sneezed into her elbow. I signed Evelyn Grace Carter so many times my wrist cramped. When the banker slid the keys across the table, same brass, now mine alone, I felt the click of something locking into place. Mama helped me repaint the bedroom. We chose a soft sage that made the morning light look like hope. We moved the bed to the opposite wall, away from where Marcus used to sleep. I hung new curtains, heavy linen, the color of storm clouds. The first night I slept there without the couch quilt, I dreamed of the ocean. No shipwreck, just waves. The library board offered me the head librarian position, permanent, not interim. I accepted. My first act, expand story time to Saturdays. Add a grief literacy shelf for kids whose parents were divorcing or dying. I stocked The Heart and the Bottle, The Rabbit Listened, a picture book about a girl who plants seeds after her dog dies. Parents lingered after, eyes wet, thanking me in whispers. I started cooking again. Not lasagna, never that, but simple things. Eggs scrambled with chives from the porch pot, chicken soup thick with carrots. I ate at the oak table, no phone, no radio. Just the sound of the spoon against the bowl and the marigolds outside turning brown but still trying. One Thursday I found a letter in the mailbox, no return address, Lila's handwriting. I carried it to the porch swing, sat with it unopened until the sun dipped low. When I finally tore it, the paper was thick, expensive. 3 pages, Evie. I don't expect you to read this. I don't deserve it. But I'm writing anyway because silence feels like another lie. Marcus and I aren't together. We tried for 2 weeks. It was Ash. He's in Savannah now, subbing at a middle school, sleeping on a friend's couch. I'm in Charlotte, crashing with my cousin, looking for work that doesn't ask for references. I see your face every time I close my eyes. The chapel, the blood on the roses. I wake up tasting metal. I'm in therapy too. My counselor says betrayal is a mirror, shows you the cracks you ignored. Mine were canyon-sized. I don't ask forgiveness. I just want you to know the dress is cleaned and boxed in my mama's attic. The veil too. If you ever want them burned, I'll strike the match. You were the best part of me. I'm sorry I forgot. Lila read it twice. Then I folded it small, tucked it into the leather journal, the one she'd given me for wedding plans. I didn't write back. Not yet. Winter solstice, I hosted a small dinner. Mama, Ruth Ann, Mrs. Delgado, Dr. Patel. We ate pot roast and cornbread, drank cider from jelly jars. After we strung fairy lights on the porch bare of swing now, I'd taken it down, sanded it, stained it walnut. We hung it back up together, laughing when the chains were uneven. The lights glowed soft against the frost, and for the first time the bungalow felt like mine, not ours. I still ran. I still cried sometimes, quiet, private, into the sage green pillowcase. But the tears were lighter, like rain that knows the ground will drink it. Spring arrived with dogwood blossoms and the smell of cut grass. I turned 33 on a Tuesday. Mama baked a lemon cake, my favorite, the one Marcus never liked, and we ate it on the porch swing under the fairy lights. No candles, no wishes. Just the two of us and the soft creak of chains. She gave me a new journal, butter yellow leather, blank pages thick as cream. For whatever comes next, she said. I kissed her cheek, tasted flour and Pond's cream. I started writing in it every morning. Coffee cooling beside me, marigolds replaced with zinnias in riotous pink. Not a diary exactly. More like letters to the woman I was becoming. Today I ran 3 miles without stopping. Today I laughed at a toddler's joke about poop. Today I didn't check my phone for ghosts. Some days the pages stayed empty. That was okay too. The library thrived. Saturday story time drew 30 kids, parents spilling into the stacks. I hired a part-time assistant, Jade, 19, art major, voice like wind chimes. She painted murals on the children's walls, a tree whose leaves were open books, a rabbit reading to a fox. Parents took pictures. The local paper ran a feature, Willow Creek's Heart Heals Through Stories. They used a photo of me mid-read aloud, cat ears on, a boy asleep against my shoulder. I framed it above the circulation desk. Marcus sent the separation papers back signed. No contest. Ruth Ann filed them on a Friday. The judge's stamp was quick, impersonal. I was single again on paper, but I'd been living it for months. I celebrated with takeout from the diner and a bubble bath, the lavender candle finally lit. The flame danced steady, no longer cloying. Lila's letter stayed in the journal. I reread it sometimes, not for pain, but for clarity. One Sunday after church, I drove to Miss Diane's. She met me at the door, eyes wary. "She's not here," she said before I could speak. "Charlotte, I know." I handed her a small tin, peach cobbler still warm. "For you." Miss Diane took it, fingers trembling. "She asks about you," she whispered. I nodded, left without promising anything. Summer brought heat and fireflies. I took a solo trip to Tybee Island. 3 days, no itinerary. I walked the beach at dawn, sand cool between my toes, waves erasing my footprints as fast as I made them. I ate shrimp and grits at a dockside cafe, read 2 novels, napped in a hammock strung between palms. On the last night, I wrote a postcard to myself. You are enough. Keep going. I mailed it from the pier. It arrived a week later, salt-stained and perfect. Back home, the zinnias had grown tall, heads heavy with color. I invited the Storytime moms for a potluck. We ate on the porch, fried chicken, macaroni salad, watermelon dripping down wrists. The kids chased fireflies while we talked about everything and nothing. One mom, Tara, asked quietly, "Have you heard from them?" I shook my head. "Don't need to." She squeezed my hand. No one asked again. I started dating. Not seriously, just coffee with a history professor from the community college, a hike with the vet who treated Mama's cat. Nothing stuck, and that was fine. I liked my own company. I liked the way the bungalow smelled of lemon oil and fresh sheets. The way the porch swing held only my weight now. One August evening, I found the pocket watch had stopped, battery dead, hands frozen at 7:38 forever. I took it to the jeweler. Mr. Patel replaced the battery, polished the brass until it gleamed. "Keep it running?" he asked. I thought of the chapel, the blood, the woman I'd been. "Yes," I said. "But set it to now." He did. I hung it back on the nail, ticking soft and new. Fall painted the oak tree gold. I hosted a grief circle at the library. 6 women, folding chairs in a ring, tea and tissues. We shared stories, divorce, death, betrayal. I went last. I caught my fiancé marrying my best friend, I began. No one gasped. They just nodded, leaned in. When I finished, Tara said, "You're glowing, Evie." I believed her. Winter came again, softer this time. I baked lemon cake for my 34th birthday, invited Mama, Jade, Dr. Patel. We strung new lights, white this year, steady. After they left, I sat on the swing with the yellow journal. The last page held a single line, written in July. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I closed the journal, set it on the table beside the watch. The bungalow was quiet, warm, mine. Outside, the zinnias had gone to seed, but I'd saved the packets for spring. I rocked gently, the chains singing their old song, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't count the cost. I just breathed, and so I sit here on my porch swing, the fairy lights flickering soft against the night, the pocket watch ticking steady on the wall inside. The zinnias have gone to seed, but their dried heads rattle like tiny maracas when the wind moves through them, reminding me that even endings carry music if you listen close. The bungalow smells of lemon oil and the peach cobbler I baked this morning, just because I wanted to taste something sweet without remembering who used to stand at the stove beside me. I won't tell you the pain disappeared. It didn't. Some mornings I still wake with the echo of that chapel door creaking in my bones. But the echo is softer now, like a hymn played on a far-off radio. I have learned to turn the dial. I kept the dress. It hangs in the back of my closet, cleaned and pressed, a quiet monument to the day I chose myself. I don't look at it often, but when I do, I don't flinch. I kept the watch too, its hands moving forward instead of frozen at the moment everything broke. I kept the journal, its pages filled with mornings I survived and afternoons I laughed. I kept my name, my house, my heart, scarred, yes, but beating. Marcus teaches in Savannah now. Lila markets for a small nonprofit in Charlotte. They are footnotes in someone else's story. Mine is the one I'm living, page by page, breath by breath. I learned that betrayal is a mirror, but so is healing. Both show you who you are when the lights go out. I learned that forgiveness isn't a gift you give the other person. It's the door you open so the light can get back in. I haven't opened it for them yet. Maybe I never will. But I opened it for me, and that has made all the difference. So I ask you, the way Auntie May always does, gentle but true. When the people you love most hand you a heartbreak wrapped in your own wedding dress, what do you do with the pieces? Do you burn them, bury them? Or do you sit in the quiet, sort through the shards, and build something new, one careful, trembling, beautiful stitch at a time? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if this story helped you carry your own weight even an inch lighter, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone. You are enough. Keep going.